Cindy says, thanks for the deepest part of my heart. Thank you. I joined EMF 17 in the middle of a storm, going through a divorce, losing my dad 3 days after the program began, nearly losing my mum soon after, and trying to keep my physical therapy practice alive under a 5-year business lease that could have bankrupted me. I grew up expecting the worst in to me and then pushed hard into by me. And over these 3 years, EMF has helped me truly live more in through me. Now, as the lease ends next week, I can look back with genuine gratitude instead of regret. I've been introduced to power versus force and the map of consciousness years before EMF, but it wasn't until EMF 48 and now, 17 and now 48 that it fully landed. I see the world through a different lens, and I'm deeply committed to raising consciousness globally through my work. A defining moment came when I was in a cycling accident that could have had left me with life-changing injuries. My face hit the ground, significantly shifting my cranial bone. Yet I stayed fully in through me, calm and present, and used my myofascial skills to literally put my face back together. I know that would have not been possible without EMF. Thank you. As I step into this new chapter, I want to build it fully from through me, not slip back into the old by me pattern. Where would you guide me to focus practically and energetically so I can anchor this next phase in that state? And where do you see the biggest place I might trip myself up moving forward? Forever. Oh, thank you, Cindy. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. The most powerful influence that we have on our day-to-day is our environment. You've heard me say it a million times. Environment beats will over time every time. The two biggest aspects of the environment are what you continually expose yourself to in terms of information and who you surround yourself with as people. So if you are, why do the elites still centuries later operate in secret societies, closed-knit, small little elusive clans? Because they know that if they mixed with the locals down the pub, they would lose their power. It would dilute. Why are they happy for the masses to scroll anti-social media? Now, if I was to add a third component there, it would be integrity of the energy of the body. Yeah, if you're drinking lots of alcohol, or if you are, eating bullshit food, the vehicle that you carry your consciousness around in is going to be sluggish. You put the wrong fuel in the car, it could be a Ferrari, but you're going to stick diesel in it, it's going to chug and blow white smoke. Nothing to do as a slight on the engineering marvel. Your body's an engineering marvel, but if you don't put the right fuel in, it's, if you smoke and do drugs and blah, 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 or all that kind of stuff, it's going to be hard. You can have a supportive environment, but the inner environment's got to be the one first. But after that, what are you surrounding yourself with in terms of people? And what are you programming yourself with in terms of exposure to information? Right? If you just focus on those three things and don't make it complicated, you're not going to slip back. If you start slipping back and you're surrounded by through me people, they're going to catch your hand before you get too far down the ladder. And you're going to do it for others. Now, my final point here is one of the questions I got asked a fair bit, and this is for any EMTs on here as well. I know 7 and Marie are EMTs, but we've got a few others as well, right? An EMT and elite mentorship trainer, people that are trained to facilitate and take people through EMF as their own business. Now, I'm not promoting EMT as a business anymore. As you probably see on the challenges, we don't offer it. I'm not offering the coaching challenge because I've got some additions to that program that I'm working on. It was my quarterly leadership meeting today, and I cemented that as one of my to upgrade the program so that it comes to a very different level, which all the EMTs hopefully should be very happy about when I make that announcement sometime first quarter next year. However, the question I got asked a lot was this: how come I can sit here and take virtually any question on any subject, relate it back to the kind of work that we do in a pretty seamless way, most of the time without reading the questions in advance or just glancing at them? And you see me do it on challenges live. Right? I don't want you to think it's because I'm special or gifted or this, that, the other. There's a much more practical reason why. And I'm saying this because it's going to help you embed the knowledge as well. What's the best way to learn something? To teach it. Now, I teach constantly. I love being able to share what I've learned with this information because I've seen the difference it makes in people's lives, and that lights me up and it ties in with my truth and vision. So I'm constantly teaching. But what is the magic around that? You see, a teacher in a high school has a curriculum that they go through, and it's fairly within strict confines. Teaching this work that is more subjective. I'm not teaching you calculus. What we're teaching is inner world work, not outer world work. Would you agree? So teaching this, every single one of you has a different movie, script, story, circumstance, background with which to interpret this information and apply it through the lens of your movie, not mine. So when I'm teaching this work, as if you were to teach this work to some of your family you may have already been sharing it with, etc., or other people, or if you're an EMT teaching it to your clients, you are somewhat forced to explain it in multiple different ways and modalities and analogies until, what we got here, 80 plus students on this call live, probably another 80 watching on the replay. I have to explain it in multiple different ways so that it lands for multiple different people. I can't just explain it one way like you do in high school. You explain 2 + 2 = 4. Here, if I'm explaining the concept of, like we just did, how to create an environment, I'm going to talk it and use several different analogies, several different tools, several different ways. And what it does, it forces me to take the concept that's here and fit it into multiple ways of landing. And what that does, it makes my understanding so much deeper and better. You follow? What makes me a decent teacher, if you'll permit me to blow that trumpet, is I teach a lot. We went out for dinner last night. How many people remember from the Millionaire Business School the last 2 years, Frankie Mack? Give me a wave. Yeah, you remember Frankie? Great guy. He's off to do a tour of Edinburgh. He's a performer. And he reached out to us. Actually, no, Natty was mentioned. We haven't heard from Frankie. She sent him a message on Instagram. And this is a few weeks, I don't know, last week sometime. OMG, I was thinking about you guys only yesterday. Obviously, that's how it works. And so he says, I'm off on Thursday. I'm like, well, we're flying to the US on Thursday. Why did you come over? So we went out for dinner with Frankie last night and his new girlfriend on there. But it turned out into me doing probably over half the talking, teaching Frankie because he was asking questions. You kind of, I can't help it. You ask a question, I'm going to help. And he was fascinated. His poor girlfriend probably didn't know what to expect. Never done any of my work. Heard a lot about me, but even so, it was like, I'm always teaching. I'm always trying to explain, re-explain. If you don't understand it this way, let me put it this way instead. And that's why I use so many metaphors, so many analogies, so many allegories. And that's why it's very rare now you could ask me a question on this type of subject matter that I can't explain in simple terms. And that's probably one of the most common pieces of feedback. That I take complex things and I make them easy to understand. You may have experienced that for yourself. But I say that because from where you're going now at the end of this program, you want to keep learning. And the best way to learn something is to teach. Not to impose. How do we teach? By being asked questions. How do we get asked questions? By being the example. You're not out there to try to find EMF victims to basically unload on, right? That's not the way to do it. Oh, you're having a tough day. Hey, let me sit you down and tell you about module 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not where we're going to go. You show up as the example in this work, less triggered, more tolerant, more wise. You become the elder of your movie so that you can be that invitation. And others will see that and they will ask the questions. And then when it comes to it, don't launch into it. Pause. Ask how can you really help them? Enter their model of the world. Make them the star of their movie that you're shining the light on their stage. And they'll open up. And then you'll be able to explain things. And if they don't get it, try to explain it a different way. And then see their eyes light up. And see the difference it makes. Don't get attached to it. It's not validating you. It's the work that takes the credit, not me or you. And that way, before you know it, you're going to be more than capable at unconscious levels of competence on how to live this work because you spent time re-explaining in different ways to different people. Make sense?